Hello, this is Chris Murley. Kona asked me to do a short review of how to use peer reviews in your course. So what I did was I set up a practice peer review here in my sandbox. Now, why do we want to use peer reviews? The advantages of peer reviews, first of all, students will often write something and not really understand what kind of errors they're making in their own writing. But by reading other people's writing, they learn how to read carefully and to understand the details of the writing, how important it is to write correctly. They also learn how to strengthen their writing by taking into account the responses of actual and anticipated readers. Sometimes students have a tendency to write strictly for the instructor, and we want them to understand that there's a broader audience. So this allows them to make the transition to writing for that broader audience. It also allows them to formulate and communicate constructive feedback on each other's work. And finally, it gives them a chance to gather and respond to feedback on their own work. So this is the peer review. I've actually put my little spiel in here in the assignment itself. Then what I did was I set up a rubric for the assignment. And this is important. You have to make sure and set up the rubric in order to go with this assignment. And I'll go over here and I'll actually edit the rubric to show you how I've got this set up. So what this is this assignment group is assignments, points, and what I've got here is I've got a text entry so that the students can submit their text and then other students will be able to review it. Okay. Make sure that you have a file upload type set, and I would make sure and restrict your upload file types because students are not going to have access to the same variety of file of ability to read different files that you do. So make sure that you restrict it to, like, for instance, just doc and docx. That way you're pretty sure that all students will have the ability to read those. And then finally you've got some choices down here. So you click on this require peer reviews, and that's going to require students then to review each other's work. Obviously if we click that off, then it's no longer going to assign peer reviews. There are then two choices down here. We can either manually or automatically assign peer reviews. The advantage of automatically assigning peer reviews is what it will do is once the deadline for that submission comes, it will automatically assign the number of peer reviews you want it to assign immediately. The downside of this obviously is if a student turns an assignment in even a few minutes late, it's already assigned the peer reviews and you'll have to go in and kind of manually assign some additional peer reviews. Generally, I mark just manually assign peer reviews. The computer can still kind of automate the process. It will still, like if you tell it to do 2, there's a button that eventually when you hit it will automatically give those 2. But what the manually does is tells it that you are going to pick the time when you want to assign the peer reviews. Also, if you do the manually assigned peer reviews, that gives you a chance to actually assign some of the reviews to particular students. For example, I usually like to make sure that my students get a variety of different opinions. Pick students from the top as well as the bottom of the class to review their work, and also have them review other students who are from both the top and the bottom of the class, and make sure students don't end up reviewing their best friend's work. The advantage of that is they get a variety of opinions and they can kind of see good papers versus weaker papers. Okay? I'm not going to bother to set a due date for this because that's not important for this particular discussion. Now, once students have gone ahead and turned in the assignment, we can now go over and we can look at the peer reviews, or you can actually assign the peer reviews before the assignment's turned in. I usually prefer to wait till after in case the student's not going to do that assignment. So what we can do here is we're on this page where it's got the peer reviews. We can assign particular students to review a particular paper. So for example, student 1, we could assign student 1 to review a particular assignment. And all I need to do is I click on this plus sign here and I select the student I want them to review. So let's say I want them to review student 2. And then I go ahead and add that. Student 2 is now showing up. I can also do this sort of automatically. I can go over here and I can click on the number of reviews I want each user to have. I could put 1, or since we have a small class, we're just doing 1 here. But I could do 2 or 3 or whatever. And then what I can do is I can also click on this button to assign peer reviews. And what it will do is assign one review to each user. Now notice when I assign the peer reviews that student 2 had already been set as for this particular one. It doesn't assign him another review. So I can assign a few of them and then go ahead and assign peer reviews to get it in the rest of them. So let's say I want to get a few. I want to make sure these students were viewing this particular paper, but as far as the rest of the students go, I'm allowing them kind of randomly assign them. Okay. So once I've done these student reviews, now I can go back in and I can actually grade this assignment. Now in this case, we've already worked up a few fake reviews. So I'm going to go straight to the speed grader and you can see what it looks like. So here we go. We've got the speed grader and the paper. We've got a fake paper that's been put in here, and we have the assessments. We can examine the student's assessments of the paper simply by clicking on that student. So here's example student 1, example student 2. Okay, and I can look at those reviews that they did to help to assign my score. Now you'll notice students must put in a comment along with their reviews. They can't simply review it, they also have to put in a comment. And then what I can do is go back in the end, take my rubric, and then I can actually put in the scores for this. So let's say, for example, I want to give this person, I'm going to view the rubric, and I want to give this person a 4 based on my review, and as well as I can figure in the reviews of the other students in addition. And then I go ahead and save that, and now I've gone ahead and assigned the grade for that student. Notice the students' scores will never go into the grade book. If you want to use their scores for the grade book, what you have to do is you have to sort of translate or average those scores in order to enter them into the grade book. Hopefully this gives you a pretty good understanding of how to use peer reviews within Canvas. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask either Online Learning or ask me directly. Thank you very much.